What's going on, Dub Nation? You're watching Warriors Today by Chat Sports. I am your host, Tyler Smith, and on today's show, we have some terrible news for Golden State Warriors fans, as we have some injuries to discuss after injuries have already been stockpiling for your Dubs. We'll talk about that on today's show, as well as a couple other things, as Golden State finally got 2 wins in a row, but before we do, guys, Golden State's clearly hit some sort of an injury bug. So if you want them to get healthy right now, give me a GSW down in the comment section. Show some love for your Golden State Warriors, as they've hit kind of an uphill battle here with the injuries stockpiling up. And let's talk about those injuries, right? Last night against the Washington Wizards, Draymond Green exited in the first quarter. Yes, just 9 minutes into the game against the Wiz. And here's Anthony Slater with the specifics. He said Draymond Green came up limping tonight early against the Wizards. Is this calf tightness, hamstring tightness, whatever you want to call it? The Golden State Warriors said that it's calf tightness. And he said back to the locker room at the 9-minute mark of the first quarter after consultation with Warriors health guru Rick Celebrini. And this stinks, man. Draymond Green is to be having a MRI today. As of recording, I have not heard of the results of the MRI. It is still about 2 p.m., 2:30 p.m. Pacific time at the time of this recording. So it's not he hasn't had the MRI yet, and the results have not come back yet. But this would be bad news for a Golden State team that really, really cannot miss Draymond Green long term. He's the connector. He's the initiator. He allows Stephen Curry to work off of the ball way more than he is when Stephen Curry has to dominate the ball if Draymond's out of the lineup. And Golden State would be at a total disadvantage without having their defensive anchor out there. I mean, the defensive numbers for Golden State are way better when Draymond Green is on the floor, whether as opposed to when he is not. So missing him for an extended period of time would be bad news. Really, really bad news. Here's Steve Kerr with more of the specifics, or I guess lack thereof, on the Draymond injury. He said, "We don't really know, so we'll have to wait and see what the MRI shows tomorrow and just assess over the next couple of days. And we'll figure out what's next." This is bad news, man. I mean, I really am unfortunate to hear this. Like, this is I really don't want Draymond Green to be out for a long stretch here. Golden State obviously had just won back-to-back games for the first time since the beginning of the month, but before that, the last time was in middle of November. So they really haven't put together consistent stretches of W's for many times this season, and it's unfortunate now that Draymond looks to be missing some time. But hey, hopefully he can come back sooner rather than later, because the Warriors' record without Draymond Green in the lineup this year, I mean, as a whole, Golden State has been mid, right? Let's not kid ourselves. But they've been 3-4 without Draymond in the lineup, and not many of the stats totally fall off of a cliff if you're just looking at them from a box score perspective. But think kind of a couple of things that do jump off the page for me are that Golden State gets way less three-pointers up when Draymond is out of the lineup versus when he is in it. It's actually like about 4 extra per game. So like that's a good amount. I mean, say you hit 2 of those, it's an extra 6 points a game when Draymond's in. And then, rebounds per game stays about the same. Like, assists goes down a little bit. So obviously, as Draymond is a facilitator, like it's big for him to be in this lineup and creates so much open space for different shooters on the perimeter on Golden State's roster. And now you're left with a couple of guys who, can you rely on them long term to take up the bulk, if not all, of the front court work? Trey Jackson Davis, like, it doesn't really make sense to even put him in here because he's already starting alongside Draymond Green in Golden State's lineup. So, like, he's obviously going to continue to play a ton of minutes at the 5. Kevon Looney, are we going to have to see him at the 4? Are they ever going to run these two together in the same lineup? I would pump the brakes on that a little bit due to the spacing that would be out on the floor. But Kevon Looney's going to be getting a ton of minutes with Draymond out of the lineup as well. Moses Moody. You'd be wondering, why do you got Moses Moody on the Warriors' front court options right now? Well, because they put him in the front court last night. Against the Washington Wizards, they had him running the floor. They did have him running the floor. He was getting up and down. But they had him running the power forward spot at the 4. And, he played well. Like, Moses Moody is just one of those guys who is going to take the opportunity that you give him, and he's going to make the most of it. And that's what he did last night against Washington. Hit a bunch of shots and played good defense. Got out in transition for Golden State and was just making the right plays overall. Love what Moses Moody gave, and hopefully he continues to see an elevated role in this Warriors rotation. And then Quinten Post. I wanted to mention our guy QP, as, he hasn't gotten a ton of opportunity just yet. However, this could be an opportunity where Golden State could call him up with the limitations that they have in the front court right now. I would love to see Quinten Post in this lineup for Golden State. He flashed what he could provide, the different elements to this offense that he could provide for you when he got an extended run in the fourth quarter against the Indiana Pacers a couple of days ago. And if Golden State had him out there, it would just be another body, man, because bodies are dropping in this Golden State Warriors rotation right now. Kuminga, we don't really have a estimated timetable on him yet. We're still yet to see the reevaluation. It's going to be about another week. Draymond's down now. Podziemski hasn't played in a month. We're going to talk about Stephen Curry's injury in the back half of today's show. Like, Golden State is depleted right now. What was once such a deep team and had everybody ready to go. Like, you lose DeAnthony Melton for the year. Obviously, you trade for Schroeder, and then that kind of patches things up there. Not so much, in my opinion. But regardless, bodies are dropping for Golden State, so maybe you have to call a guy up like Quinten Post, and I know Golden State Warriors fans are in favor of doing that. So let me know. What do you guys think? Should Quinten Post be up with Golden State during Draymond Green's absence? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Let me know down in the comment section what you guys think about QP. Next, we're going to get into a Stephen Curry injury update because it was not only just Draymond who left the game against Washington last night. Steph got injured in the last couple of minutes in this game when it was pretty much already wrapped up. So we'll talk about that on the back half of today's show. Before we do, I got to give a major shout out to today's sponsor, and that is Prize Picks. Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports platform with over 10 million active members, including yours truly. And you guys can get a free $50 in your account when you place your first $5 entry and use our promo code CLNS when you sign up. And all that information will be clickable down in the comments and description of today's video. So it's easy info, easy link to click for you guys right in the comments and description. And you might be asking me, Tyler, how do you even place an entry on Prize Picks? How do I get this $50? Well, it's super simple. All you guys got to do is pick a lineup of 2 to 6 player stat projections and just pick more or less. And take it from me, who's been playing Prize Picks for quite a long time. I actually cashed out. I greened out a lineup last night in the NFL playoffs. This was an awesome lineup that I crafted up, and I had some college basketball in there. My St. Bonaventure Bonnies, you guys already know I got to get the CBB involved as well. I had my guy Jaden Daniels to have basically 300 pass and rush yards. I had Sam Laporta who cashed me out on the final drive in garbage time. Thank you, Sam. 51 receiving yards he had. Melvin Council Jr. of the St. Bonaventure Bonnies, he had more than 23.5 points, rebounds, and assists. He was filling up the stat sheet. And Leger Jones, you guys got to get on Leger Jones points whenever they give it out on Prize Picks. He's been cashing crazy on that. You can tail my picks. You can fade my picks. Just make sure you go and do it at Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use that promo code CLNS for $50 for free when you place your first $5 entry. You don't even need to win to receive the $50. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks. Run your game. All that information is clickable down in the comments and description of today's video. All right. Stephen Curry injury update. It's not as serious as Draymond Green's, according to Steph, according to Stever Kerr. No tests have been ran or anything like that. So it's honestly a good sign that Steph did not, have to see extended treatment after the game on Saturday night. And, it sucked because it was toward the end of the game. Golden State was kind of just wrapping things up, sealing up the W. And Steph and Jordan Poole collided, and Poole ended up rolling up on Steph's ankle, twisted a little bit, and he had to leave the game. Did not go to the locker room like Draymond did. However, Steph was kind of working it out on the bench, had to leave the game, and he was seen with a visible limp as well. So this is not great news for Golden State overall, but it is good that Steph is not looking at missing much time here with the Golden State Warriors. Stever Kerr mentioned, and in the postgame to the media, said, Steph just told me he doesn't think it's serious, but they'll both be day-to-day for now. Talking about Draymond Green and Stephen Curry. So this is big, significant news. Is Steph going to play in this big-time game coming up against the Boston Celtics on Monday? It's not 100% yet. However, he thinks he is. He said, feels great. See you Monday. He kind of is all business there. He's looking at a game where he's likely going to get up for it, and I'm not surprised that he will, because the Boston Celtics, they always pose a challenge, and Steph's got bad blood with them since the 2022 finals, obviously. I mean, that's not so much bad blood, but more of just a competitive spirit against those guys. And, they're teetering right now, the Boston Celtics, man. Game 42, we're middle of the season right now. The Warriors season is halfway over. Can they right the ship like those Boston Celtics did in 2022 when they ended up losing to Golden State in the finals? Boston's a 5-point favorite traveling to San Fran right now. They're not playing their best brand of basketball. They're shooting really inefficiently from three. They're settling for a lot of bad shots. They're not moving the ball around. They're not running as many sets as they were during their initial championship pursuit in 23-24. So maybe this is an opportunity with Golden State winning the last 2 back-to-back games to be able to strike while the iron is hot and, strike while Boston is kind of down here and sneak out a win, go 2-0 against the reigning NBA champions in the 2024-25 NBA season. This would be a huge win, and hopefully Steph is playing, because the last time that Steph played against the Boston Celtics back in November, he absolutely torched them up. He had 27 points. He shot super efficiently from three-point range, and he was filling up the stat sheet. You could tell that Steph got up for this matchup with the Boston Celtics. 7 boards, crashing the glass, being hungry to attack more possessions. 9 assists. He was getting his teammates involved, and there was so much gravity to Steph defensively that guys were open. Buddy Hield had a big game, and he had 4 steals, so he was even engaged defensively last time out against Boston. This feels like a playoff game for the Golden State Warriors in the sense that, they could be 3 games in a row now where they're getting a W. And they could be 2 games above 500. And they can inch themselves closer and closer back into the play-in and be more enticed potentially to make a big trade that would necessarily, take them over the edge and maybe get them up to like the 6-5 seed and out of the play-in because they're really only like 4 games out of it at that point. Golden State's got a big opportunity here with the Boston Celtics to kind of knock the champions off a pedestal a little bit while Golden State rides this high of a 2-game win streak, and hopefully they could turn it into more. Because Steph in 2025, since the calendar has turned to 2025, has been dominant. He's looked like a top 5 talent in the NBA. Basically 27 points a night, 6 boards, 5.3 assists. I mean, this is in the last 7 games. It's not a huge sample size, but the man is shooting 66.9% true shooting. Do you understand how filthy of a percentage that is? He's playing like an MVP level player, but what's interesting to me is if Steph had to necessarily miss time, and I really, really do not hope that he does, Golden State's actually 5-3. Now, I would expect that to regress back to the mean of closer to 500 and potentially even below 500 because when he's playing and he's off the floor, Golden State's a totally different team. They look night and day versus when he is on. They are much better with Stephen Curry playing basketball. Do not get that twisted. But they are 5-3 without him. So if he were to have to miss time, you can tell that certain guys in Golden State's lineup get up to leading the charge when Steph is gone because, there's not a ton of initiators on this team. Guys are going to step up. Guys are going to play a little bit outside their role in this Golden State Warriors team. So look to a couple of players on this roster if Steph were to miss to really have to step up their game. Maybe Moses Moody gets even more of an opportunity than he's already getting with Draymond and Kuminga out. Who must step up the most? Get your votes in down in the comment section right now. Who must step up the most with the Golden State Warriors injuries? Let me know down in the comment section. I'll give you my pick in just one moment. All right. My pick, it's got to be Dennis Schroeder, man, because if Steph were to miss time, especially, Dennis Schroeder is going to be basically the engine of the offense, right? Like, kind of doing his job that he was doing over in Brooklyn. He's going to have to give you 17 points a night minimum. He's going to have to give you 5-6 assists a night minimum. He's going to be running the show for Golden State if Steph were to miss any time. But I even think, though, with Draymond potentially missing time and Kuminga still out of the lineup and Podziemski still out of the lineup, Dennis Schroeder here is going to have to really assimilate himself more into this Warriors system. A little bit more than he has so far, right? I mean, he's been a little bit underwhelming since the trade, and I guess that was to be fairly expected, right? Because he was never necessarily going to fit like a glove into this Warriors scheme, but he was a big-time player in Brooklyn, and he's been a big-time player in a lot of stops in his career, and he's been a guy who could fill up the box score on the offensive end. So, like, he's got to step up big time, got to get more big shots out of him. Got to get more, isolation situations where the shot clock's running down, and you got to be able to trust a guy like Dennis Schroeder. I know that sounds crazy, but that's the position the Warriors are in right now with all the injuries stacking up. So, Dennis Schroeder, I'm looking at you to step up big for Golden State. We can talk about it more, though, on social media. Hit me up at Smitty at CS on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. And make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Picking up a bunch of subs here on the channel as Golden State kind of turns the corner here on the court. You guys got to sub off the court and join us here. If you're a diehard Golden State Warriors fan, you'll love what we got here at Warriors Today. So we'll see you in the next one. Let's go Dubs.